learn how to paint in acrylics. My name is Michael Pickett and I'll be your instructor. And today's lesson So let's go to my studio and I'll show you how it's done. Hello, here we are at my studio, and I'm just finishing up the drawing of Odie. Okay, now we'll take some burnt sienna and a lot of water, and then we're going to cover that entire canvas. Okay, now we're going to get our sock. Now we're going to wipe away all that paint. There we go. See the pencil showing through? Ah, that's beautiful. Okay, we'll start out with his eye first. We'll start out with the pupil. We'll shadow the top. We'll put a fine line down on the bottom. And then we're going to take some burnt sienna and we're going to put down in the color part of his eye. See? We're going to fill it in. And we're going to blend it in with the shadow on the top. We're going to make it look round, make it look like a marble. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, now we're going to mask around the edges of the eye. We're using our Mars Black. We're also using our number 0 brush. We're going to add a little bit of white. With our Mars Black, we're going to create a gray. Odie is an old dog. So he's got a lot of gray in his fur. And we're going to go ahead and fill in around that eye. And we're going to do a lot of blending too at the same time we're painting. There we go. Get that all filled in. And we're blending as we go. Now we're going to add the dot between the pupil and the iris in the dark side of the eye. And then we're going to work around the eye some more. We're basically putting in our undercoats right now. Later on we're going to be doing our detail. So we're adding our white and burnt sienna with a touch of Mars Black. Again, Odie is a 14-year-old dog. He's got a lot of gray in his fur, so we're going to put that gray in there. Oh, there's Odie's eye. He's looking at you. He's going to watch you paint the rest of him. Okay, now we're going to be working on the ear. We're going to use our Mars Black, and we're going to be putting in all the shadows. And we're going to be using burnt sienna to keep it nice and warm. We're adding our darkest colors first. We'll get that filled in within the ear. Okay, now we're going to add our highlights. Now we're going to work on his nose. We're going to start out with his nostrils first, and then we're going to outline the nose. We'll get that filled in. Start outlining the nose. Then we're going to fill in along the top. We're going to put all our dark in first. Now we're going to add a little bit of white, and we're going to do the reflected light on top of his nose. Now you don't want too much white. You're just accenting it. We're working on making a black nose look round. So you want just a hint of gray in with the black, which is your white and your black together, which creates gray. And then we're going to add some more Mars Black into his nostrils to highlight it a little more. Then we're going to work around his nose to frame it in. Now we were using Mars Black and white with just a touch of burnt sienna to keep it warm. I'm going to work around his nose, frame it in. There it is. Now we're going to create his whiskers. Whiskers along his muzzle. I'm going to fill in around his mouth with Mars Black. Touch of gray. Down along his chin. And there we go. Now we created the 5 lines for his whiskers. We're going to fill that in. And we're going to make it stand out. Yeah, there we go. Fill in on top of his nose. Add some more reflected light. You see how that brings out the nose? Now we're gonna work along his whiskers. You see how we're breaking up those lines and turning them into dots? Well, that's where the whiskers come out. Isn't that cool? This is so much fun. Okay, there he is. Now we'll work on the other eye. We'll start with the pupil first, and then we'll add our burnt sienna to the colored part of the eye, and then we're going to blend it in. There we go. It's just that simple. Now we're going to frame it in. Now we're going to add a reflected light between the pupil and the iris and the dark side of the eye, the upper part of it. There we go. We'll fill in along top of his forehead and his nose, a little more light. Okay, now we're going to work along his cheek. Underneath his eye, we're going to put some more dark. We're going to blend it all in. Now we're going to fill in the rest of the body. Yeah, we're going to be using our number 10 brush with Mars Black, Burnt Sienna, and White. Now we're going to fill in all that bottom. We're going to use a little more water with Mars Black and Burnt Sienna. We're just going to fill that in, creating our undercoats first. A little touch up around his ear. At the same time we're working on his body, we're kind of touching up his face as we go. Now we're going to add a little more around his muzzle. Okay. We're going to add some more white around to his collar and some more dark. We're going to be doing some shadows and we're going to be doing some highlighting. First we're going to fill in that fur as our undercoat. We're going to add some white over the top of the dark. Now we're going to fill in with some white and a touch of Mars Black down below his collar. We're going to fill that in. We're going to detail the collar. We'll get the collar all filled in. Basically, I've already done that. Now I'm going to outline the collar. These are the shadows. You want to set that collar into the fur. Now we're going to highlight it. Add reflected light along the edges. Now the fan brush works really good for fur. Now we're going to fill in the bottom part with white below his collar. Now we're going to add some Mars Black and create a gray. And then we're going to add some fur over the top of his collar. So his collar sets right into his fur. And we'll just go around and just start creating fur. This is the fun part. There we go. This is so much fun. And we're taking Mars Black and we're kind of highlighting around the ear, doing a little more shadows underneath his chin to bring his chin out. A little more white. Now we're going to do more fur. And just get up into his face, kind of fluff up his fur some more. Now we're going to use our zero brush and do some fine detail. Okay, now our number 2 brush. We're going to do some blending. We're going to accent his whisker lines. Now we're going to blend those whisker lines into the white fur around his muzzle. Add a little more reflected light. We're going to add some more shadows in with its fur. Now we're going to be working on the background. We're using our number 10 brush. We're going to be using ultramarine blue, white, Mars black, just a very little bit of Mars black in the corner to kind of break it up. We'll mix that in. We'll get that whole background filled in and blended, and just paint right up to Odie's face. Now we're taking our number 0 brush. We're doing the fine detail around his fur. Now there's some light that's behind Odie that's reflecting onto the fur. Now we want to bring that out, so that's what we're doing now. And we're going to go around his whole face, then up around to his ears. Now we're going to sign our painting. And there he is. There's Odie. Isn't he cute?